Hi guys, here we go again. So the Tory leader Kemi Badenoch was back talking about immigration. Perhaps she hasn't been watching my videos because I've told her about a dozen times to cut it out. Anyway, she sat down with Kemi Badenoch friendly GB News to discuss the first Tory policy in her role as leader of the opposition. It must be remembered that Badenoch had ruled this out recently, saying that the election was too far away. Well, she has U-turned. So is the policy any good? Well, I don't really know, because as soon as you start thinking about it, you have more questions than answers. If this is her attempt to woo people away from Reform UK, I think she's going to be disappointed.
By how much will your plan to make it harder to become a British citizen cut net migration by?
Right now, it's actually about solving a problem that is already here. You will know that we've had many more people come into our country. All of those people are on a conveyor belt to leave to remain and citizenship. Judging by the numbers that came in, about 2 million people could start becoming British citizens by next year. We need to stop that, because one of the things that is really creating pressure on public services is the sheer number of people who are here. We're on a housing estate, for instance. I'm here with the Conservative candidate for the Peterborough and Cambridgeshire mayoralty, and we can't build homes fast enough for the people who are here. So we need to make sure that all of the people who are here have to have a meaningful contribution to the UK. So one of the things that we would be changing is making sure that people are net contributors to the UK. Lots of people come in to do work, but they bring dependents, so they're net recipients of welfare, of benefits, if you've claimed social housing benefits or any benefits at all.
So pay your way, essentially.
More than pay your way, really.
And that's for 5 years you can qualify to be a British citizen, but now it's 10 years. Is that over that whole 10-year period?
It would actually take it from 5 to 15. So
15?
Yes, and that's quite important. British citizenship is not an entitlement, it is not a right, it is a privilege. And we have one of the easiest routes to citizenship, and we need to tighten that up.
Okay, look, I could respond to each of these points, but it would be pointless. It would take about 20 minutes. The reason why I think it's pointless is because this message is not designed for your average person on the street. It's designed to woo people who are considering or who have already voted for Reform UK. This is why she's talking about immigration as the very first policy that the Tories, the new Tory shadow government, want to roll out. Immigration. Forced immigration, not cost of living, not NHS, no, immigration. So obviously they're focusing on Reform UK leaning voters or people who have voted for Reform. See, the problem with this whole interview and this presentation is it sounds like a civil servant explaining a process. This is not going to win people over. Compare this with Nigel Farage. Nigel Farage gets up on stage without a script, anything like this, and he says, we're going to send them all back. Now, he's talking absolute tripe, and she's talking absolute tripe. Well, which is more enticing if you're somebody who wants simple solutions to complex problems? Her solution here is more complex than the problem itself, it seems. Who is this going to entice? It's not going to entice anyone. You know, if you're already a Tory voter, you may look at this and go, oh, this is professional, this is what I want to hear. But you're already going to vote for the Conservative Party. If you're leaning towards reform and the issue is immigration, is this going to encourage you to vote for the Conservatives? Did a regular individual who's concerned about immigration and is considering voting for Nigel Farage looking at this and going, no, I'm actually going to go back to the Conservatives because they have an adult... No! It's ridiculous. It's about delivery. Farage talks absolute tripe when he's talking about immigration. Yeah, we're going to send them back. We're going to turn back the boats. We're going to just dump people in France. We're going to have this tough approach and all of this rubbish. But you notice his responses are short and to the point. They're punchy. I completely disagree with them. And we could tear them apart. But your average voter who's considering voting for reform or who has already done it at the last election is more interested in what Farage has to say than what Kemi Badenoch has to say. And if Kemi Badenoch wants to outdo Farage, I don't think it's possible, but if she does really want to do that, she needs to change her approach. this is not going to win people over. I don't think you should be talking about immigration in the first place. But if you are going to talk about immigration, then you need to understand what makes these voters tick. Why are they considering voting for Nigel Farage? Somebody who has lied to them in the past. Somebody who told them, if we leave the European Union, immigration will come down. Of course, she can't argue with Nigel Farage on Brexit because she's a Brexiteer. She still thinks it was a good idea. So she's painted herself into a corner. She seems to have painted herself into many corners. And she's still fighting on. I think she's been pressured to do something because she's been doing nothing recently. And once again, I keep thinking this is her attempt to win over people from reform, because her first policy out of the gate is immigration. And it's not going to work, Kemi. I'm sorry to say, or maybe not so sorry. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.